Right now, as you're watching this video, one part of your brain is running a process without you even realizing it. It's deciding, should I keep watching this, or switch to something easier? This mechanism activates thousands of times a day, and without you noticing. Most of the decisions that improve or damage your life are made by it. People usually think they act based on motivation, but at its core, it's all about an energy economy. Your brain treats every action like an investment. If there's high pleasure for little effort, it sees it as an opportunity. If there's high effort with uncertain reward, it sees it as risky. And we all hate risk. This is not a flaw in your character. It's evolutionary software. Thousands of years ago, saving energy meant survival. The problem is that today there is no fight for survival, but the mechanism still works the same way. And the modern world knows every weakness of this system. That's where the real disaster begins. Every notification you see on your phone, every short video you watch, every colorful image you click on is designed by a team specifically to exploit this mechanism. So you're not lazy. You're living with the results of a hacked brain. And at the center of this hack is dopamine. Contrary to what most people believe, dopamine is not really about happiness. Dopamine rises not when you receive pleasure, but when the expectation of pleasure appears. What makes you feel good is not the reward itself, but the feeling that you are getting closer to it. That's why social media is so addictive. With every swipe, the what will come next. Expectation inflates your dopamine. It doesn't even matter whether the content is good or bad. Because dopamine doesn't operate on reward, it operates on the search. So even if what you watch is terrible, the possibility that the next one might be better keeps you scrolling. Then suddenly you realize you've been on your phone for hours. So what happens if you keep this cycle going? Your brain can't handle this much dopamine and starts reducing its sensitivity. In other words, it lowers the number of receptors. It's like your brain saying, "You're shouting too loud. I can't hear anymore." A book that once pulled you in now feels boring by page 5. A workout you used to do easily no longer gets you moving. Where making a cup of coffee used to be enough to start working, now you need to close 3 apps, watch for videos, scroll through a bunch of reels first. The problem is not your discipline. The problem is an overloaded dopamine system. This is the point where people start blaming themselves. Why can't I succeed? Why can't I focus? Why can't I do the things I want to do? But it's completely mechanical. Just like a muscle gets tired, the dopamine system gets exhausted, and that exhaustion makes you emotionally numb to life. You know what's worst? Once your brain adapts to this system, even the feeling of achievement loses its impact. Finishing a project, learning something, chasin. Agola, all of it feels weak compared to 1 minute of dopamine from your phone. That's why modern humans live in a huge contradiction. Everything is accessible, everything is easy, everything is colorful. Yet the old drive, the old energy is gone because the system is hijacked. And the irony is this: easy dopamine does not make life easier. It makes life more boring, more tiring, and more unbearable. But don't worry, anything that breaks can be fixed. One of the brain's greatest strengths is this: it must change. It reshapes itself every day. Whatever you're exposed to, you become shaped by it. If your life is full of short, fast, flashy stimuli, your brain adapts to that. But if you reduce stimulation and calm your dopamine system, the brain finds a new balance. This is exactly what people call dopamine detox. Not cutting dopamine completely, but recalibrating its sources. Because right now, your system is running at such high voltage that it can no longer feel low voltage. Dopamine detox lowers the voltage, so normal levels start to feel meaningful again. But here's a big mistake people make. They suddenly quit social media and expect a miracle. That doesn't happen. There is a transition period, and it's tough. In the first few days, restlessness, boredom, emptiness, to feeling of, what am I supposed to do now? All hit at once, because when the brain can't find its old source, it goes into alarm mode. This is completely normal. It's the brain trying to rewire itself. But people misinterpret this phase. I can't do this. This isn't for me. And they quit. In reality, it's the exact opposite. That discomfort is proof you're on the right path. So how do you do a dopamine detox? It's actually very simple. First, identify your highest dopamine source. For most people, it's their phone, but it can be different for everyone. Video games, pornography, junk food, online shopping, anything that gives you maximum pleasure for minimum effort. Once you find it, remove it from your life for at least 7 days. But during this time, you must replace it with something. Because the brain hates emptiness. If you leave a void, it will return to the old behavior. What you replace it with should not give instant pleasure, but sustainable satisfaction. Reading books, walking, working out, handwriting notes, thinking, watching long-form useful content, creating something, writing. At first, these will feel boring, because a high-voltage system automatically labels low-voltage activities as dull. But after a few days, your brain starts linking dopamine to these new behaviors, and something fascinating happens. Reading becomes enjoyable. Training becomes attractive. Starting work becomes easier. Because now your brain has rebuilt the connection between effort and reward. Here is the key concept. Pleasure and fulfillment are not the same. Pleasure is external. It comes fast and disappears fast. Fulfillment is internal. It comes slowly, but lasts long. That's why you can have an insanely fun day and still feel empty at night. You had pleasure, but not fulfillment. Dopamine detox brings fulfillment back, and the dopamine produced by fulfillment is far more powerful and long-lasting. Over time, the prefrontal cortex strengthens your willpower, focus, decision-making, and ability to finish what you start. All improve your boredom threshold rises. Small things stop bothering you. Your phone no longer controls you. You realize something important. Discipline is not actually hard. What's hard is trying to be disciplined with a hacked brain. When your brain resets, discipline becomes natural. You stop avoiding hard things and start moving toward them. Inner motivation grows, but you can't solve everything with this alone, because the brain can always slip back into easy pleasure. That's why environment design is critical. If you remove your phone from your bedside, you wake up clearer. If healthy food is in front of you, you eat better. If your workout clothes are ready, you're more likely to train. Instead of fighting your mind, design your environment around it. Environment beats willpower. And there's one more factor most people overlook. Your social circle. You drift toward what the people around you do, watch, and consume. If you're surrounded by people who constantly scroll, gossip, and chase short-term pleasure, staying focused is almost impossible. But if you're around people who talk about productivity, discipline, goals, and health, you rise with them. Dopamine levels influence each other. Your social environment is one of the most powerful forces in personal growth. Now, to the uncomfortable question. Why should I do all this? Why make my life harder? Because what seems easy now, scrolling, gaming, instant pleasure, hurts you in the long run. And what seems hard now, exercising, reading, creating, gives you strength, confidence, and peace. In the long run, easy gives little, instantly. Hard gives much, eventually. You have a simple choice. Either you hand your brain over to algorithms, letting them decide what you watch, what you laugh at, what you focus on, or you take control of your own mind, choosing what deserves your time and who you want to become. The best part of dopamine detox is this. After it, things that once felt hard suddenly feel easier. You no longer act because you should, but because you genuinely want to. Your energy rises, your sleep improves, your focus deepens, your desire to create returns. That I am coming back to myself feeling you've been searching for starts to reappear. After you close this video, I ask just one thing. Choose the biggest empty dopamine source in your life and remove it for 7 days. During this time, write down the changes in your mind daily. Just 7 days. You'll see yourself saying, "Why was I living like that?" If you start, write it in the comments. I read them all and respond as much as I can. Thank you for watching. For more content like this, don't forget to subscribe and like the video. See you in the next one.